Greetings, my naughty little mosh pit, and welcome to another merch catalog video. I know the way I spoke in the Shantae one made it seem like that was going to be a one-time thing, but I had so much fun making that one that I decided to turn the merch catalogs into a bit of a series of sorts on this channel. It's just a very easy and informative excuse to talk about some of my favorite franchises on this platform. So of course I'm going to use it as an avenue to discuss Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is a long-running franchise that, despite gamers taking it for granted and undermining it constantly online, has had a massive impact on pop culture as its protagonist Lara Croft is an icon in both video games and media in general. I mean, fuck. The series has been rebooted twice for fuck's sake and is going to get another one most likely. It has had multiple films, comic books, 2 theme park rides, and a new Netflix cartoon coming out soon. So of course, with all that in mind, you can probably guess this merch catalog will be a lot longer than the previous Shantae one. I want to thank the Tomb Raider merchandise Tumblr blog for being a big help in this video's creation. I'll link that Tumblr blog in the description so you can go through it yourself if you're interested in anything I might cover in this video. With all that said, sit back and let's rate these tombs together.
She said, I like your confidence, but you're not the 1975.
Before I get into discussing merch proper, I wanted to start with a segment dedicated to the physical attractions made based on the series. Firstly, I want to discuss the defunct Tomb Raider the Ride, mainly because there were 2 of them. The more well-known one is the one from Kings Island in Ohio that opened in 2002 before being rethemed in 2007 and reopening in 2008 with all the Tomb Raider branding unfortunately removed, as Cedar Fair Entertainment Company bought all 5 Paramount Park properties from Viacom and thus removed all the Paramount branding, including all the uses of their film licenses, as this ride was based on the 2001 Paramount film adaptation of Tomb Raider. You can learn more about this ride by watching the Defunctland video on the ride's life and death. The second ride to share the name Tomb Raider The Ride opened in 2004 at Canada's Wonderland. But despite being completely different from the Ohio ride, it was rethemed for the same reason in 2007 because of the Paramount selling off the park space thing. Last thing I want to mention here is Tomb Raider The Live Experience, which was a live attraction created by Little Lion Entertainment located in London, England that opened in 2022 and closed in 2023. It followed a narrative where guests were learning under Lara's teachings, and it featured several locations from the series. I'm admittedly bummed that since I'm American, I could never experience it before it closed, and previously mentioned rides were gone by the time I learned about them. I am aware this doesn't particularly count as merch, but I felt like tackling the subject in this video because most of y'all didn't even know these attractions ever existed.
I said, girl, I might not be famous yet, but I'm gonna put you in a song that I write.
Seeing as Tomb Raider is best known for its iconic leading lady, it's no shocker multiple companies have obtained toy rights to the series at one point or another. Playmates, the company best known for its role in the Ninja Turtles franchise, had the toy rights to Tomb Raider during the 90s and very early 2000s, so all of their toys are based on the classic timeline or the 2001 movie starring Angelina Jolie. However, by the time of the first franchise reboot, that being the Legend trilogy, the toys rights went to NECA, who would create figures based on Lara's appearances of both Tomb Raider Legend, Anniversary, and Underworld, so basically the entire Legend trilogy. I should also take the time to mention Soda Toys, who seem to have only worked on figures based on the second Angelina movie, Tomb Raider The Cradle of Light. Tonner Dolls also made collector dolls for Tomb Raider Legend, entirely of Lara's, but they did make one doll of Amanda, who, for those unaware, is a character from the Legend games who's basically just Lara's own Shadow the Hedgehog.
Disgusting.
Gaming Heads, Slideshow Collectibles, and Varner also made various statues based on the series, but there's a lot less to talk about with statues compared to proper figures in my opinion, so they're only getting this brief mention. So as you can see, unlike Shantae fans, Tomb Raider fans never had to settle for a Funko Pop and nothing else. But Funko did, in fact, make pop figures for both Classic and Survivor Lara, but no Legend Lara, which is pretty standard for merch companies in current day to just forget the Legend timeline ever happened, so I'm not even surprised, just increasingly more annoyed seeing as how Legend is my favorite game in the series, period. And while I don't like Funko Pops that much, Funko also released this rock candy statue of Classic Lara, which I personally really dig the look of. She has this kind of Bratz doll vibe to her, and I'd love to own one of these someday, but they usually go for like $38 or higher online nowadays, so it'll probably be a bit before I can do that. Also, as I was writing this script, Dark Horse announced a PVC statue of Lara based on the classic era, which is up for pre-order for $90, which is an insane price for a statue, but oh well.
So I said, DJ, can you play her? That one song that talks about chocolate?
I really had no other way to categorize this, but I wanted to dedicate an entire segment to all the weird types of merchandise that the series has had over the years. First off, we gotta talk about the Lara-shaped memory card. This thing is incredibly well known due to Katakura talking about it in his video discussing odd PS1 accessories. And while that video has one too many boob jokes for my taste, I know, that's the first time you're ever gonna hear me say that, it is worth pointing out as a lot of people's first exposure to this memory card was that video.
Kamehameha!
It's legit just the PS1 memory card with Lara on it. It's incredibly funny that this sort of thing was even made, but a lot of people don't know that Lara's was one of 3 of these things made, because there were also character memory cards made for Duke Nukem and Goldberg? Like the WCW and WWE Pro Wrestler? Really? Fuck. Maybe I should consider doing a WWE merch catalog video in the future. Anyway, back to weird TR merch. There was this mini flashlight made for Tomb Raider Legend that, according to the Tumblr blog, was possibly exclusively given to fansite admins, which, if that's true, shows even back then the TR developers had a good relationship with the fan community of the franchise. Something I personally think is really cool. There was also this beach towel made for The Last Revelation. Like, imagine you're on the beach just chilling on a towel with classic Lara's face all over it. Last Revelation seems to be home to a lot of this franchise's weirdo merch, because there was also a pencil case that uses Tomb Raider free artwork despite being for Last Revelation, Tomb Raider neckties, which, yes, is a real thing, officially licensed Tomb Raider shower gel, a notebook created by Hasbro? You mean the company that's slowly killing the Power Rangers franchise?
Cool.
They made a notebook for Tomb Raider, of all things. Odd. Very odd. Not as odd as the fact there exists a Tomb Raider toothbrush, like legit, a fucking toothbrush with a Tomb Raider logo slapped onto it. Like, damn, y'all ever wanted Lara to help you brush your fucking teeth? Well, here you go! Angel of Darkness is also home to some of the series' weirdo merch, such as this t-shirt that has Angel of Darkness art of Lara inside of a picture of the N-Gauge on the front of a shirt. Who the fuck thought this wasn't the tackiest thing ever designed? We really were trying to make the N-Gauge a thing, weren't we? Is there any other pieces of weird merch for the series I could point out? Well, Tomb Raider on Game Boy Color got this 2002 calendar, but I feel like the weirdest part of that statement to everyone watching this is learning that Tomb Raider had a game on the Game Boy Color, which yes, it did. The first Survivor game from 2013 had an official longboard deck made for it. That's odd, right? I don't fucking know anymore. I just think it's funny all the weird shit this series has gotten as for merch in the past 27 years or whatever. The fuck you mean there was a Tomb Raider free champagne?
Using none of that art degree.
Basic fact many of you know is that clothing is probably the easiest form of merchandise for any franchise. It's super easy to slap characters and logos onto shirts and stuff to sell to fans of your series. Even I've done it before. And of course, being a franchise as impactful as Tomb Raider, you're bound to have a ton of apparel on your hands. Obvious thing is obvious, but there's a ton of t-shirts and tank tops featuring mainly Lara plastered onto the front, usually with a logo behind or in front of her. Basically with the same level of creativity as the average metalcore band's Hot Topic merch. More interestingly, there was a series of jackets made for the franchise over different eras, like these varsity jackets based on Tomb Raider 1, created by French company Redskins. Vive la France, I guess, lol. Or the Survivor era jacket done by American company Numskull. So it's not just the French making more creative clothing based on Tomb Raider. But I know what y'all are asking. Girly Wolf Pup, when can I put Lara on my feet? Well, lucky for you, there does exist merch for such a task, as they did create shoes based on Rise of the Tomb Raider. These shoes were exclusive to Gamer Shoes, but when I tried looking that up to figure out who the fuck Gamer Shoes were, I found a dead URL and no info online. So I can only assume these products can't be bought firsthand anymore, which said assumption was only further strengthened by the fact that apparently these shoes can go up to $99.95 in secondhand markets. So, sneakerheads, y'all better get on these. Of course, there's also hoodies with various Tomb Raider logos on them, hats with logos, or in some cases, renders of Lara slapped on them. This really neat bucket hat, perfect for all the Tomb Raiding stoners in your life, and officially licensed Tomb Raider underwear released in 2003 where Lara's signature is on the left boob. Why the fuck wasn't this in the last section?
You know, like, that's quite the compliment, but I'm not really looking for somebody tonight.
A common practice when it comes to video games getting merch is to release a collector's edition of the game for fans to buy. That is basically just spending more to get extra shit alongside the game itself. You know, most of the time. One example of this is the 2007 collector's edition for Tomb Raider Anniversary. But all it did was come with a bigger box and 2 CDs. one containing developer interviews, and one containing the soundtrack of the game. Also, this Tumblr blog I've been using for my research incorrectly called Anniversary a Remake, when in reality it's just the Legend Timelines version of similar events from TR1, but it's not a remake of TR1. Details, I guess. Whatever, this blog is like the only reason this video gets to exist, so I'm just gonna pretend I didn't see that. Speaking of the classic timeline though, there was a big collector's box released for PC in 2003 that featured every game in the classic timeline from TR1 all the way to Angel of Darkness over there. You know, in Europe. Rise of the Tomb Raider had a big dick collector's edition released in 2016, featuring cool shit like a replica of Lara's journal, an art book, and a statue of Survivor Lara for anyone who's ever wanted a taste of Lara's 12 inches. To rewind back to Angel of Darkness, there was a collector's edition of the game released in 2003, but all it really came with was trading cards, so big day for Steve of War, I guess. Tomb Raider Underworld had a collector's edition exclusive to Australia and New Zealand, so if you're a Remy Raccoon or a Mighty Morphin Power Ranger, then you're probably eating good right about now. It had a poster, a hat, a figure, a calendar, a bag, and a shirt. Lara Croft and the Temple of Osiris also got a collector's edition, which really only came with a map and art book along with a small figure of the game's version of Lara. It also came with a season pass for upcoming DLC for that game, but that sort of thing is just lame to me because you just know every code for that has been used by now. And also, digital goods being put into a collector's edition is, in my opinion, mad lame. Real quick, I want to talk about the absolute GOAT that was the European collector's edition for Tomb Raider 2013. Because it came with a waterproof pouch instead of a lithograph, and a free iron-on patches, a mini art book, a code for in-game content, a map and poster, and the biggest surprise to me is a whole-ass PlayArt Sky figure of Survivor Lara. Imagine getting a whole-ass PlayArt Sky figure for a fucking collector's edition of a game. Remember when video game collector's editions were like cool and didn't require you to buy from limited run game? Oh god, I have to talk about limited run again, don't I? So unfortunately, I am once again forced to talk about Limited Run's bullshit, so let's just get it over with. Limited Run in 2024 released a physical The Lara Croft collection up for pre-order, which is sold out for anyone wondering. It's just a physical dual pack for both Temple of Osiris and Garden of Light, and while I hate saying anything nice about LRG, it is pretty cool that they put it in a triangular-ass box and represents the old Eidos PC physical releases. More prominently in LRG's venture into this franchise is all the shit they plan to release for the Tomb Raider 1 for Free Remastered collection. For starters, there's a Nitro Deck Plus controller for Switch with a bunch of Tomb Raider branding slapped on it. It's basically just a Pro controller, but meant to be in handheld mode, so you don't gotta use those pussy-ass Joy-Cons when you play Tomb Raider while committing a Taco Bell aftermath. LRG is also doing a standard and collector's physical release for the game, because God hates me even more, unfortunately. The collector's edition they have actually goes pretty hard too, which is the worst part. It comes with free posters, free figures, each based on different outfits of Lara's from all three games, a display case with low-poly replicas of Lara's handguns, a steelbook, soundtrack CD, postcards, and everlasting debt because it's $200 fucking dollars. Because of course it fucking is. Unlike Way Forward, Crystal Dynamics don't have their balls chained up in LRG's basement. But this was likely done because most companies have decided that low-budget releases like this don't deserve regular physical releases anymore. God, isn't the AAA industry fucking great? I hate it here sometimes. So there you have it. A good chunk of merch made for the Tomb Raider series. You know, I honestly do love these games, and made this video mainly as a way to talk about it on this channel, but it's no real secret why all this merch exists. Tomb Raider is a cultural icon. It really did change the landscape of gaming after the first game in 1996. The series has stuck around for this long, and it really does show that despite stupid people on social media, the world is just as in love with Lara today as they were years ago. I know this very much isn't all the merch, but if you want to see everything, I'd recommend visiting the Tumblr blog I used for the majority of my research for this video, as they seemingly put a lot of work into cataloging all of this merch, and this video would not have been possible without this blog's help. I think now is the perfect time to get into the series. All of them from all free timelines are on Steam and go on sale every other month, especially now that the first free classic games got that collection this year. I really do hope this video inspired y'all to take a look into the franchise.